just go and focus on driving traffic to your store, because without traffic, without fuel, your car won't go.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, where we're dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running an online business does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. If you're struggling with scaling your sales, Electric Eye is here to help. To apply to work with us, visit electriceye.io/connect to learn more. Now let's get on with the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. Today, we are welcoming to the show Tom from Firepush. Tom and Firepush have over 5 years experience in the Shopify ecosystem. During this time, he and Firepush have helped many Shopify and Shopify Plus stores use Firepush to achieve outstanding results, such as driving $1 million in revenue for their customers. Also, before that, Tom had a lot of experience running his own agency, so he's been in the game for quite a while. And today he's going to run us through just some amazing data that they have and insights that they've found on retargeting strategies. But I have now talked for way longer than I want to talk. So, Tom, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to this show. And yes, a bit about me. Like I had a digital agency before we started to work with Firepush. It was always the dream to have something on our own and develop something special for our clients. So before we started Firepush, we did many different projects for different big clients like Red Bull, Maybelline, Volvo in Middle East, and eventually we just started to develop our own SaaS project and end up here.
Absolutely. I think the grass is always greener. Like if you are an agency, you think like having a product would be easier. And then like on the other side, when you have a product and you have a good strategy, you're like, oh, this would just be so easy to be an agency. Did you ever feel like that?
I completely agree with you. And grass always greener when you don't have those things. And we had much experience with different clients. And at some point, we just got bored and started to develop our project.
Awesome. So you've been working on Firepush now for over 5 years, and you guys help a lot with retargeting and making sure that you're sending essentially the right message through the right channel. If I'm going to try to simplify it, does that sound like I kind of got it?
Yes, I can probably start from the history. We started from web push notifications initially 5 years ago. And, it was a new technology. An idea came up from many requests of our clients. They asked the developers different native applications just to send push notifications. And when Chrome released possibility to send push notifications, we just came up with the idea that could be a good channel to do that. A part of like emails and SMS messaging, web pushes could work really well. So we started to develop it. And, in a couple of years, we introduced SMS messaging, and in a year or so, we introduced emails as well. So we just found that combining different channels works way much more better than just having one channel.
I couldn't agree anymore. We're right now, it's kind of SMS is so popular these days, and it seems like almost every project that we're doing now is either refining someone's existing SMS strategy or bringing that into the fold, because now it's a lot more affordable these days, I'd say, and the technology is there with the integrations in the Shopify ecosystem. So it allows people to start to capitalize on that.
Yes, and Shopify created an ecosystem which allows you easily to install app and start sending messages. Of course, you have to prepare yourself. You have to collect subscribers in a legal way. You can't just start and just install and sending. But it's so easy. Just install app, activate automations, and that's it. And today, I would like to talk more about retargeting customers and help to recover abandoned carts. And most merchants, what they do when they start businesses, they run just some kind of like paid ads to their product pages. Some people buy some, but most of those people just goes away. And the easiest way now for Shopify to retarget customers would be emails, because they have those tools on board, and you can start doing that for completely, basically for free. But what we found that combining different channels, let's say by sending web pushes and emails in parallel, which are way much more cheaper than SMS messages first, works way much better because you send email or push to your customer and wait. If he didn't buy, then you can send SMS message, and it works way much more better than just sending emails. It really depends what audiences you're targeting. You have to have that in mind as well. Younger people, they are more keen to give permission to send the push notifications rather than emails. So if you're targeting, let's say, younger generation, that pushes could work for you really, really well.
Want to get each new episode of Honest E-Commerce sent straight to your phone? Join our VIP texting list for updates on new episodes and exclusive deals from our partners. Text Honest VIP, that's HONEST VIP, to 72599 to join. By the way, we're powering our text messages with Postscript, the #1 text message marketing app for Shopify stores. Check out the show notes for a link to install Postscript for free today. Yeah, it's essentially you want to contact the customer or potential customer the way that they'd like to be contacted. So the way that I know, the ones that I'm very familiar with, you've got obviously email. That one's a big one. And then you've got SMS is huge right now. And then you've got some other ones out there like Facebook Messenger is one. Push notification is another one that I don't see as many brands utilizing. Are there any that I'm missing?
I think that you mentioned most popular ones. Facebook Messenger was and is a great channel as well. So it allows at the moment to retarget your customers easily, by sending images and specific information which maybe customer added into cart. So it's a really good channel to utilize as well. There are a couple of restrictions where Facebook started to go more. I see Facebook Messenger more like a support channel now because of restrictions Facebook introduced. It looks like they want to avoid sending promotional messages and maybe focus more on support messages and transactional messages more. But web pushes and emails, if let's say somebody subscribed to your push notification, we start tracking them straight away. You don't have to leave email or phone numbers to send push notification. As soon as customer subscribed, we start tracking, and if he added in, or she added into cart something, we know that. So push notification can be sent slightly earlier than emails and SMS messages.
Awesome. Cool. So let's talk about kind of what a typical customer journey looks like for the typical merchant, I guess, and then I guess pivot it to what a more omnichannel approach would look like.
Yeah, so typical omnichannel funnel looks like you drive traffic via Facebook ads or Google ads. It's really important to make that step really very well, to prepare it very well, because if you target wrong audience, you will retarget wrong audience as well. So you will pay twice for a wrong audience. So you can drive the traffic via those Facebook channel, via that channel to your product page. Somebody buys, and most of the people, they just go away, and they have to be convinced. And we have stats which shows that about 50% of people buys first day, and the rest 50%, they can buy after 1 day, 2 days, and even 30% can buy after two, 3 weeks. So imagine how many times you have to display ads or show your brand in front of their faces so to get that sale. And with such tools like Firepush, other channels, you can basically cover only first 2-3 days, because you won't start sending abandoned cart messages every day, like for 2 weeks. So, you set your tool to send messages, after 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 day, and so on. And then the rest has to be covered by such channels like Facebook. You have to retarget your customers via Facebook or Google Ads and display those items which customer added into the cart.
Absolutely. It's building out a fully functional funnel is probably the hardest thing to do, just because it takes a long time to get it done right. Because what you're saying here, it takes at least almost half almost a third of these conversions are happening after 14 days. So when you're building out your funnel and you're testing new strategies, it's going to frustrate a lot of people that it's not direct response anymore on these channels, really. It's more akin to building a flywheel. You got to get more people into the funnel, more people into the retargeting strategies for it to really start to pick up. And it takes time. There's unfortunately not a shortcut to kind of just letting the algorithm and the data work, finding the right customers, and then retargeting the right customers.
Yes, and more expensive stuff you sell, more time it takes for people to decide to buy. Because if you sell something for up to $50-$60, those purchases can be impulsive first, very quickly. But if you sell items which are more than $100-$200, people they are keen to double check pricing, to go to check where maybe they will find something cheaper elsewhere, or it takes time for them to decide.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and then when it comes to retargeting strategies, we always suggest our clients to send emails and web pushes first after 30 minutes, by 30 minutes, because we did like a big research last year just before Black Friday, and we noticed that best ROI, best return of investment to send those messages would be after 30 minutes or after 50 minutes. I mean, first wave of one-cart messages. So if you start sending the pushes and emails slightly earlier, give a small gap for people to buy. And then if they didn't buy, then send a SMS message on top. You will get way much more better results than just sending messages via one channel.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. So Tom has an amazing slide deck put together for this that I'm watching now, but unfortunately this isn't a video just yet. So we're going to make sure that we have this in the notes for everybody so you can check out all these stats as well. But I'll just kind of reiterate what he just said here. So the best time to send the first abandoned cart is at 30 minutes, and then at the best time, according to this data, is at 50 minutes, but then the second best is at 30 minutes. So if you're talking on the timeline, you're going to send it 30 and 50. So maybe email on one of those, or push notification and then SMS on the other. And then the second best time to send, or the time to send your second abandoned cart, would be 8 hours later, is what this data says.
Yes, correct. So, and we're receiving many questions about whether SMS messaging is still working, because there was impression that SMS messages died. But I think that they have renaissance at the moment, and basically those messages are so powerful. You can get a return of investment, more than 40 times. If you start sending promotional campaigns to all your subscribers, who will get slightly lower conversion rate, it's about 0.5%, but generally it generates the biggest amount of sales. It's about 70%, something like that. So you can get return of investment up to 13 times. When it comes to abandoned cart messages, conversion rates are way much more higher. It can be up to 2%, 2.5%. Sales, from other hand, will be slightly lower. It normally generates about 30% of sales, from all messages we send. But return of investment is huge. It can be up to 30 times. So it's really powerful tool. You can send messages to very specific targeted audiences. You can target people by how much they spent, when they purchased, what they purchased, by location, and then different kind of stuff can be done.
Yeah, these are some amazing data points here. So we've got it broken down into 4 types of SMS messages. So you've got your promotional messages, your abandoned cart messages, your win back messages, and your reward messages for new customers. And it's pretty eye-opening here to see which ones are going to be driving the most sales. At the end of the day here, all of these returns are above 10%. So I'd feel like you need to make sure that you're building all of these campaigns into your SMS strategy.
Yes, correct. And we have a couple of more slides where we just display, our channels, and you can compare that. For example, if you start using, if you're using emails, you should expect conversion rate about 3%. If you're using, if you have some sort of SEO strategy, conversion rates from traffic coming from these, from such channel can be about 1.5% and so on. And I think that, we will put that deck somewhere for you to download. So you could double check those conversion rates, and it probably will help you to focus on specific channels more, and rather than just trying different sources and so on.
This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo. Klaviyo knows modern e-commerce is moving fast. Between email, mobile, and web, it can be hard to keep up with consumers and personalize their experience with your brand. Think of Klaviyo as a central command center for all your digital marketing needs. With email marketing, dynamic website content, social retargeting, SMS automation, and more, you'll take back control of the customer experience and own your business growth. That's why it's trusted by over 30,000 brands like Casemate, Kapari, and Brooklinen. Ready to find out how Klaviyo can help your business grow? Visit klaviyo.com to schedule a demo. That's KLAVIYO.com. Awesome. So when we are talking about omnichannel, maybe some of the listeners kind of don't even know what omnichannel means. So maybe we should take a step back and kind of quickly explain what an omnichannel approach would be for those listeners that are a little bit newer into marketing at this scale.
Yeah, so there are so many omnichannel examples out there. When it comes to marketing, remarketing, it means basically then that you are using different channels to retarget your customers and approach them when they want, where they want, rather than just focus on one channel and hoping that they will respond to your messages.
Awesome. So I guess if we were to set up maybe a checklist, like, because it does take time to craft these messages and build out, the campaigns and all that. So I guess if you were to kind of talk about which systems to start with, and maybe once you get those ones down, which ones to start adding in next. So would it be like start with email? You need to get a really solid email strategy done. Once you're done there, maybe move into SMS or move into push notifications. What do you see being kind of like a good stepping stone or plan to kind of build out your omnichannel strategy? Because obviously something successful like this, you can't build overnight.
Yes, you're right. And I would probably suggest to start, as usual, like from emails, because it's the most common channel and people know how they look like and how it works. And it might be slightly easier to start, even though it takes lots of time to build your own email templates and start sending those messages. But it's, as I said, it's most common channel and people knows how it works. When it comes to web pushes and SMS messages, I would probably start from web push notifications first, because it's way much more cheaper channel compared with SMS messaging. And results are very, very similar to SMS messaging. It also slightly more open channels. So, you just install app, activate one of the automations or messages and start collecting subscribers. And that's it. It's just simple as that. Meanwhile, with SMS messages, you have to spend slightly more time, to prepare your checkout page to be DCPA compliant, to send SMS messages in the United States. And it takes time to crack a bit more. So I would say emails first, that pushes second, and then SMS messages on top of that. But I would definitely recommend to use all those three channels. And of course, you can add Facebook Messenger on top of it. It's a great channel as well.
Absolutely. So that's for all the notifications. Once you get those down, I would actually start with those first, because then when you're talking about paid retargeting, you're kind of opening up another can of worms, and having these people being retargeted through these lists, you can like retarget them as well through Facebook and Instagram, and it'll be a little bit cheaper. So once you if you have those systems built out and you already have those lists, that makes it easier for you to retarget them on Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, you can do it through other methods as well, like just pixel retargeting and whatnot. But like, for example, if you're using a powerful email automation software, you can build out specific segments within those softwares that you can usually push right over to Facebook and Instagram for a more dialed in retargeting.
You basically can do that with all channels. Email would be like that connector for Facebook. Nowadays, we can all these tools which we have on Shopify, identify client. If somebody, let's say, subscribed to that push notification and later left email or SMS messages, a phone number, then we can basically, identify that person and create even deeper and more sophisticated segments on different other channels like Facebook, as you mentioned.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's when it gets fun for me because I'm a nerd. I like jumping in there and creating some like really fun retargeting strategies. Let's be honest today, all of your customers are going to have questions. And what are you doing to manage all those questions? Do you have a help desk for your business? One of our sponsors of today's episode is Gorgias, and Gorgias is the #1 rated help desk for e-commerce. It integrates seamlessly with Shopify. We have installed it on a bunch of stores. It's also used by brands like Movement and Rockies. And what it does is it takes all of your customer insights and information, brings it into one amazing dashboard so you can solve their problem as quickly as possible. If you want to give Gorgias a try, visit gorgias.link/honest. That's GORGIAS.LINK/HONEST to get your second month free. It's definitely a lot easier, I guess, if you have a smaller product count. When you have a larger product catalog, it's probably a little more difficult to make some really unique retargeting strategies for that. So if you do have a larger product count, I would focus on building out, something a little more unique for your best sellers or the most profitable items in your store. That's something that people tend to ask me quite a bit, is how to approach that. With that being said, I guess, Tom, is there anything that I forgot to ask you about today that you think would be helpful and worthwhile for our audience?
We can maybe discuss a bit more about the discount codes and double check whether it's worth to use discount codes or not for different types of messages.
Absolutely.
And we just noticed from our stats that if you're giving away discount codes very easily on your website, like on every corner, you just landed pop-up with discount code, going away pop-up with discount code, then those discount codes starts, they just blends out. And people, if you start sending SMS messages or emails with discount codes, then it's way much more complicated and to get those sales, because people think that, oh, I can get that discount code anytime anyway. So why I should just click now and then go and buy? So you will have then to provide really, really good deal. So for example, if you have like a discount code for 10 or 15%, nowadays it's for most of merchants, it looks very small unless you are not giving discount codes at all. But if you're giving discount codes, 5-10% discount codes looks worthless for these customers, and you have to send SMS messages only when you have really, really good deal. And in an example I have here, you can see that you will see that it's if you have really good deal, you can get even twice more orders and sales rather than just like a small discount code. It will generate way much smaller results. So, and you have to be very careful because conversion rates are, according to our stats, are very, very, very similar. Like, from promotional messages with discount code or without discount code, it's about 0.5%. And, you will get a very similar amount of click rates, clicks, but average order value of the discount code will be way much more smaller. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, that's some surprising data right there. So kind of to reiterate what Tom just said is they've got a bunch of data here for promotions with a discount and without a discount code, and the conversion rates are essentially similar and the same with the click-through rates. And the biggest difference between these is the average order value, which makes sense because the ones with the discount code is going to be less money.
Yes.
So that's some surprising findings.
Yeah, but it might be because we did like that research based on stores we have on board, and it's very, very popular among them to send to use discount codes everywhere. So I think that it might be sometimes misused and overused. So you have to come up with a strategy how you're going to give those discount codes and when you're going to give those discount codes. So to build proper strategy and get more sales.
Absolutely. Awesome.
And it's as I mentioned earlier, like you have to in order to make such tools like Firepush work properly, you have to prepare your home. You have to prepare your homework initially, and you have to target your customers really, really specifically and target them in a way that they if you target, let's say, people who are not keen to buy your products, then you will retarget these people again and again and again. You will build basically big audience, but it won't work for you.
Yeah, that's some sage advice. So at the top of the funnel, i.e. when you're prospecting or advertising to cold traffic, if that's not dialed in and you're getting weird people into your funnel, it's going to keep retargeting those people. If it's a bad fit, or if they're never going to buy your product, advertising to them isn't going to change that. If your product doesn't solve a need that they have, they're never going to buy it. So that comes down to making sure that you have a really dialed in strategy at the top of the funnel, making sure that you are only targeting people that actually want to buy your product. Potentially is going to save you a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah, that's why I always suggest our clients to use when you run Facebook ads, to use layering system, and I call it layering system because it's just narrows your audience, and extracts those who most likely could buy your products. For example, if you're selling something for bodybuilders, and you start advertising your products for people who like Schwarzenegger, it doesn't mean that those people are bodybuilders. They might like Schwarzenegger because he's famous Hollywood star. But if you start targeting people who like Schwarzenegger, but at the same time they are interested in bodybuilder 1 and maybe in bodybuilder 2 at the same time, then your audience will shrink to from 2, 3, 5 millions to maybe a couple of 100,000, and you will target way much more specific people. And so this could be like a good advice to run prospecting ads. And then, of course, you have to set your retargeting ads in parallel to prospecting ads. So you run prospecting ads, you drive traffic to your store, and then you're targeting with via email, via SMS, pushes, and at the same time via Facebook ads displaying exact those items people added into carts. So you have to combine different channels all the time.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head there. So Tom, if people are curious to learn more about what Firepush can help them do, or if they just want to ask you a few questions, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So, Firepush, it's when you're just starting, I would probably suggest to come and activate abandoned cart messages first. So to start collecting subscribers and retargeting your customers. And at some point, when you have more subscribers, you will be able to send promotional campaigns and retarget your customers via win back sort of messages and so on. But initially, you just focus on abandoned cart messages. Those are most powerful messages, and this is where you should start. And then you're done, you just go and focus on driving traffic to your store, because without traffic, without fuel, your car won't go.
Absolutely. All right, Tom, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. It was great to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me.
I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their journey and knowledge with us today. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our businesses. Links and more information will be available in the show notes as well. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and your business, feel free to reach out and learn more at electriceye.io/connect. Also, make sure you subscribe and leave an amazing review. Thank you.